Hello and welcome to Fundamental Value, a journey to quantify crypto. I'm your host, Joshua Frank, co-founder and CEO of The Tie. On Fundamental Value, we speak with the leading hedge funds, analysts, trading venues, and digital asset market participants. Our goal is simple, to understand how the leading minds in the cryptocurrency space are researching, analyzing, and quantifying the value of digital assets. Remember that you can always catch this podcast and other deep explorations of blockchain trends on Cointelegraph magazine at www.cointelegraph.com/magazine. Quick disclaimer, nothing here is investment advice. You can read the full show notes for all of our disclaimers. And with that said, I'm super excited to be joined by Laura Vidiella, VP of Institutional Sales at Paradigm. Laura, it's so great to have you on.
Hello. Yeah, great to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
And so, the way that we always like to get started with all of our guests is what was life like as a normie before you entered the crypto space, and what brought you here?
Right. Yeah, life was boring, honestly. I guess like all of us now we look back and we all wonder what would we do without this life right now, right? But yeah, so before joining this space, I was a consultant. And yeah, during my consulting time, there was a point I was already like pretty much interested in the space and joining a lot of meetups and so. And I knew a lot of people in this space that kept telling me you should join. And finally, I decided to pull the trigger and join this space. That was around like mid 2019. Before that, I was just buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other shit coins and just like surviving.
And so, what was it that actually was the impetus to join the space? You first joined at LedgerX. Was it the specific opportunity at that firm, or were you determined to go and enter crypto?
Yeah, I was already determined. It's a good question. Sometimes I really like give it some thought because from one side I have a CS and finance background, so that's my academically my background, and then I was a broker in Amsterdam, and then did a few things in like tech startups, and I was a consultant as well. But I always had like a soft spot for like creating the world a better place, right? During my college years, I thought about joining an international organization or like even being an ambassador and trying to do something good for the world, but that's another story for another day. I
You ended
just
up with shitcoins.
I ended up in shitcoins, yeah. So I don't know how that balances out right now, but yeah, I don't know. And then I don't know. When I was a broker, I just realized how terrible the financial system was because once you get in, you actually learn all the dark secrets, and I just wanted a better structure. And something I got like about crypto is that now we have the opportunity to actually build from scratch, knowing what we have, all these great things.
And so, your first job at crypto was in at LedgerX. So, can you tell us a little bit about that job and why you decided to move over from there to Paradigm, where you're at now?
Mhm. Yeah, so at LedgerX, I was the operations manager, and there I was supporting anything from like finance, helping finance, compliance to just anything operations related, deposits, withdrawals, sales, support tickets. Yeah, so all this sort of. And we're a small team, so you kind of have to wear different hats. It was a lot of fun, especially when I joined. We started doing a lot of marketing, and we grew the platform quite a lot. I think it was like 20x by the end of the year. Worked on launching futures, worked on Ethereum that they just actually launched today. Yeah, and then nice to just work together with a very strong team on a tech level, and also management is very strong there. And then yeah, so after a year there, the opportunity to join Paradigm came to me, and it was a really hard decision because I was really close to the team, and even today I'm still really close to them. I speak to them almost on a daily basis, but yeah, I just like the tech that Paradigm was building. I also like the team a lot. I think that everyone Paradigm is very smart and very talented and dedicated. And then they were also building a product that I missed in my years as an environmental commodities broker in Amsterdam, which was an RFQ system. Because before, at least 5, 6 years ago, the way we managed all the institutional trades was through like chats, so either Skype or like Yahoo Messenger that does not even exist anymore. So yeah, so that's I remember seeing the flow for the first time. The CEO Anand was showing me, and I was like, wow, like this is awesome. I was just I jumped on a call just to like learn more about the company and ended the call, and I was like, wow, this is what I want to be next. Yeah, so that's how it switched.
It's funny. We actually still have one crypto client that still uses Skype. I'm like, I wonder if they have like one desk that they still have to deal with on Skype. I bet there's something like that. But
That's
but
actually, yeah. I when I started at LedgerX, the first few months I was on Skype as well, speaking with a few
we still
customers.
have one left.
That's
One.
crazy. Maybe is he TradFi or not? Or
It's a prop shop.
oh,
Uh,
okay, okay. So I don't know. Maybe they have other stuff going on there. Yeah, but
Maybe internally they, I don't know. It's a little weird. I
that
mean,
could be.
they're Canadian, so maybe it's a Canadian thing. I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, they still use Skype. But let's kind of get into Paradigm, right? So you said there were all these messenger apps. The way that institutions were making trade made no sense. Enter Paradigm. Tell us about the company. Tell us about what it does. Who are the clients, and what is the actual product?
Mhm. All right. So enter Paradigm. Our founder, he is Anand Gomez. He was in energy markets, and he also went to the pain of like how all these large trades were done. So yeah, so he knows a lot about, and also like Paradigm right now we're like very much options focused, and yeah, so he was just thinking about like what's a good solution, what RFQ system can we build to like basically fix all of these things that are missing right now, either in TradFi or crypto. And then that's when he at first like we came up with like this chat based system for like just two counterparties to negotiate on size and price. And but quickly after that, from listening to customers, that's actually our number one thing. We prefer to listen to customers, like come up with products versus just coming up with something just because. I guess that's a normal thing to do. But anyways, then from there we're like, wow, we can actually build this new workflow, which is a taker places a request for quote, and that can be either an outright or a multi-leg strategy, and then and also a delta neutral trade, combining options and futures, and then the taker blasts the request for quote into the network of all our liquidity providers, right? And then the
Can
makers
you see
respond.
who can you see who the request is coming from, or is it anonymized?
You can actually decide, yeah, that you can actually say, hey, I want my request to be anonymous, or I want to open it up to all the makers to see who I am. Month by month, so far, around between 80-90% of all requests for quotes are always anonymous. And we're actually launching a second product that will be fully anonymous. I'll tell you in a second. But yeah, so that's very simple workflow. And then once you submit the RFQ, you just wait for responses from makers.
And
And
then you guys are getting paid bips on the trade, or there's a monthly cost. How does it work?
right. So we have a revenue share program with the exchange. So using Paradigm is actually free. There's no subscription fee. There's no additional fees, no additional cost or anything. If anything, you get access to this great network of liquidity providers, and not only that, but the chat system is still there. You can meet great people. So it's all advantages in my opinion. But yeah, so and right now we're integrated with three exchanges, which are Durbit, CME, and Bit.com. And we are soon also integrating with Bybit, OKX, and then FTX later.
And so I think you kind of hit on this and don't really need to explain it, but just to reiterate, like why would somebody choose Paradigm versus going directly to an OTC desk or trading directly on an exchange, right?
Hmm. Right. So main reason is instant liquidity, right? So we have on-demand liquidity with this very large pool of network of liquidity providers. We have a lot of those on our website actually on under our liquidity providers section, but also it's a lot faster, right? So you can just submit a request for quote, and on average, I would say all trades clear within like a minute or like 2 minutes max. So that's I would say that's probably the main reason, especially for assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. I mean, right now we only have Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash because we're limited to whatever the exchanges have listed. So you can do, you can't just
Is Bitcoin Cash on Bit.com? Is that why?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
got it.
Bitcoin Cash is on Bit.com, and
So
yeah,
I'm
so
assuming with Bybit, I think Bybit has more, right? So that's going to expand. And
Bybit
okay,
has. Exactly. Yeah. So that's, yeah, super excited about that. We're going to be adding a lot more assets very soon with these integrations, which are coming within the next 2 months. Bybit is almost done. And actually, together with Bybit, we're launching this new product, which is it's going to be we're going to be streaming future spreads, and the way it works is going to be just a screen where you have expiry by expiry and all the different pairs of spreads, so you can see in one screen all the combinations of perpetual and deferred bond, or like future and future, and streaming, let's see all the prices all at once. And so we're doing that together with Biped, and then with the next OKS and FTX ones we onboard them, you will also be able to use that product with them. So especially, I don't know, you probably saw it around between Q1 and beginning of Q2. Basis rates on futures was just fantastic, right? Because there were premiums of like 20-30% on Bitcoin. So yeah, so volumes exploded over the first 4 months or 5 months with futures. So that was like part of like the idea also to provide this tool so it's easier for traders.
And so, yeah, I mean, can you kind of explain? I think many of our listeners probably understand the basis trade, but can you explain it, to everyone else, but also kind of go into why it's no longer as profitable, these days?
Right. Yeah. So for the basis trades, what happens here is that you have kind of like an opportunity here where you see a perpetual, of course, at like spot price, or you also holding like spot, and then the deferred month. So the futures are at a lot higher price, right? So what happened in March or April, you had the perpetual at spot price, and then December was trading. I think it was like $72,000. So you had a $12,000 premium there. So, and that with that you can also like combine lending, right? And you can just like borrow to take advantage of this like premium in the spreads. So so the first 5 months of the year, everyone was basically doing that until the market crashed. Also because like the market was very bullish, so that's why also you were able to do like these premiums. And if we had continued going up, you could have probably continued still doing this as of today. There were concerns with the landing, and I remember, you probably know Ro. He went on Bloomberg to talk about it actually, and one of the questions they asked him was like, what happens if like suddenly everything crashes, right? Because then you enter liquidations and stuff. And I guess that's what happened also on May 19th with all the liquidations. And then from there, of course, right now with implied volatility just kind of not being as exciting as it was earlier this year. Right now, basis trades are not as attractive as they were before. Also, something to note here, the attractiveness of basis trades, sometimes it also depends geographically, meaning that, so in the US, especially for like traditional funds, when they see this like 30%, 20% premiums, it's very exciting for them, because at the current cost of capital, like for them, they do around what, like yearly, they do like from 10 to 15%. So for them, saying just like 30% all at once, it also attracted all these like TradFi people into the space for the futures spreads to take advantage of these yields. But then, so that I'm saying it geographically, because then if you move to, if you look at Asian markets, like they actually already see many times these returns in traditional finance. So it was not that appealing in that geography, but it is very appealing here.
And so, speaking of geography, I'm curious as to where you've seen a lot more activity. Obviously, we had this China news that's come out, or consistent China news, whereas exchange are getting pushed out, miners are getting shut down, this and that. Where are you seeing activity? Are you seeing a big percentage of your business coming from Asia, from Europe, from the US? I'm curious, and how has that been evolving?
Yeah. I think US still predominates. There was a time where maybe Asia was predominating more. I personally feel also that Asia does a lot more OTC than the US does. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't know, just kind of for like what I hear from like friends and customers. And then the US, I mean, they do also quite a lot of OTC, but you see a lot more volume coming from US markets or even Europe. I would say maybe Asia is like 20% or less right now. And just overall, it also depends on the day, of course. But yeah, and then US, like most of it. There's a lot of Europe. I think Europe is actually growing quite a lot. There's a lot of traditional finance there, so you see a lot of like companies either based in London or like Germany, like starting to pick up a lot of interest. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how it evolves, especially because you still have the funds in Singapore that those are also growing a lot. But yeah, let's see how
Yeah,
it
I was
moves.
about to ask. My next question is the Asian funds. Where are they predominantly, and you're seeing them in Singapore specifically?
It's either Singapore or Hong Kong. Most of them, like yeah, they're either Singapore or Hong Kong. And then sometimes you see Taiwan, but not that much.
What about Korea or mainland?
Not that much actually. I have not really seen that many. Even Japan, I was surprised. There's not a lot of. Maybe there's some part of population that I'm missing here, but yeah, Singapore and
No, I
Hong
mean
Kong.
Korea. I think has one big fund, which is hashed, is very large. But I think to your point that it is a small market. I mean, we see the same thing. It's constantly it's Singapore, Hong Kong, Singapore, Hong Kong, Singapore, Hong Kong every
Yeah,
single time. So even the big desks are Singapore, Hong Kong. So it's the same
exactly.
same kind of.
Yeah.
And so how just to quickly go back to paradigm and then a couple more questions, but then would love to shift gears towards the market more broadly. How do people actually access the platform? Is it a web based portal? Is it something they can download? Can they trade on their phone?
Right. Actually, whatever you want, you can either download the client interface or on your computer. You can access through the phone app, or you can also access through a web app. So really, it depends on what the customer wants to do.
Very cool. And so, your job is VP of institutional sales. And so, I presume your job is mainly going out and actually doing sales. But I'm curious as to what, you know, Paradigm is a rapidly growing, very successful company. What does your day to day actually look like?
Right. So my day to day is actually, yeah, as you're going out there, of course, but at the same time, we have a lot of calls. And then also with our customers, I like to keep in touch with them as much as I can. Like of course, it's impossible to keep in touch with everyone every day, but also, as you're saying, we're like super fast growing company. So we're adding new products all the time, right? We have this, future spreads product that I was just telling you about, but then we also have a second version of our Korean RFQ launching also in like 2-3 weeks, which it's going to be basically the same, but we're going to allow for limit orders, partial fills. It's going to be a completely it's going to be an open auction, right? So right now when you submit an RFQ, the taker can see who the maker is and what the quotes for each maker is, but then makers cannot see their quotes between them, so it's a blind auction for them. But then with this new system, it's just going to be like open auction, and everyone will be able to kind of like for each level say how much quantity and size they have.
So it's
So
kind of
yeah,
in an order book in a way.
yeah, sort of like an RFQ order book. You can kind of see it like that way, yeah. But yeah, so just kind of like telling customers about what's coming that's new and getting their feedback and doing also like discovery, right? Like what is it that you want to see next? What are you missing on the platform? Is there any product that we can also speak with our partners and see if they want to list it? And so yeah, so from one side there's like the sales side of like speaking with new customers and onboarding new people, and then there's also the side of like keeping up with the current customers, see what they need, what else we're going to do to help them, show them what's coming up, get their feedback. So yeah, very dynamic, I guess. Yeah,
Nonstop.
nonstop.
And so, how have you seen the market evolve? You talked about geographically, a little bit how the market's evolved, but in terms of the types of clients,
Hmm.
I know you've only been at Paradigm for a few months, but I'm sure you've heard from Anand and the rest of the team. I mean, I don't think I'm giving away any secrets here. I think it's on Anand's LinkedIn that there are over 400 enterprises or institutions on
Exactly. Yeah, we
Paradigm.
just we
So
just 500 actually.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad I'm not giving away any secrets here. So
No.
So, what do those clients look like today? I mean, what is it majority hedge funds? Is it family out? Like, what does it actually look like?
Yeah, so there's from prime brokerage to hedge funds, asset managers, family offices, high net worth individuals, prop desk, trading desk. So and they all have different strategies, right? Also because like prime brokerage, they might be doing, they have like different desks. They might have like a landing desk, trading desk. Yeah, so they'll have like kind of like different strategies. Same for hedge funds. You have the classic hedge fund that is like really involved, and maybe they have a trading desk and they do a lot of like vol trading. But at the same time, you might have the kind of hedge fund that they just come once a month and they buy, they just want to protect their spot holdings, and then they just basically hedge with Bitcoin, Ethereum, the current holdings. Same with VCs. You have a lot of VCs also just like hedging. The VC part is kind of new, I'd say. Like you didn't really used to see those before, but I think that after March last year, and then that was like kind of like the first call to get VCs to protect their portfolio. And then I think after this May is kind of like the second call of like, hey, remember, it's a good idea to do this, protect your portfolio,
Well,
especially
in
also
similar
VCs.
vein, I'm curious. Have you seen any miners start to show interest? Because I did a podcast episode with Mike Collier, who's
Mhm.
an awesome guy. He's the CEO of DCG Foundry, and he was mentioning that on the Genesis side, Genesis has started to help out miners with hedging their risk and hedging their positions. I'm curious if you're seeing similar interest.
Yeah, absolutely. Miners, they generally, they have to protect their rewards, right? So and I also saw that a lot of ledger as well. They generally like to sell calls, or they just create yield, basically what they have. Again, it depends. Some of them have trading desks, so they actually do more vol trading. But the ones that are just like kind of like our main operation is mining, and we just want to protect our assets, they just strictly hedge.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that like some miners have trading desks because that's just not the same skill set. It's like it's like you're operating two businesses at once. Like if you're a miner, are you supposed to be a speculator? Like I guess a lot of these things are private operations, so it doesn't really matter. But it's kind of an interesting dynamic.
I agree. There's new industry. There's I agree. It's a completely different skill set, but I think they're all seeing big opportunity here. So definitely not opposed.
It's similar. Like we always get asked, do you trade? Right? We have probably the most data in the entire space, and we
Right.
have it's all a lot of proprietary actual data. People ask, do you trade? If you think this data can help drive alpha, why aren't you trading? I'm like, because I don't know how to trade. I'm not a trader. It's like a totally
Yeah.
I'm a quant. I'm not a trader. Like I'm good at data, and I think there's a giant opportunity in data, which is why I'm serving the market. But like being able to procure data, clean data, build a business around data is a lot different than being a trader and building all these different complex strategies in the data. So I think it's kind of a similar type of vibe.
I could not agree more with you on that. Yeah.
And so in 2017 and in previous bull markets, right? you know, those markets were 100% retail driven, right? Or
Mhm.
99% retail driven. This time it feels a little bit different. But I'm curious as to how much you think institutions are actually driving this market, driving the movement that we're seeing today. Are institutions actually protecting us? Are they giving us a floor? And how much is that split between Bitcoin and alts? And I know, from you guys, you're really only seeing BTC, ETH, BCH flow, but I'm curious as to your overall perspective there.
Yeah, I thought about that on May 19th. I was like, how much of this crash is retail? How much of it it's institutional, right? And I I think that of course the retail adoption has grown a lot, but I don't think it's big enough where it does affect the market. But then I think it triggers more the liquidations here, right? Because maybe it's
Big,
a little
big moves are driven by dumb retail traders.
exactly. So, but it might be if you look at their move compared to how much the market dropped in total, it's not that much, but that was enough to trigger the whole cascade of liquidations. So yeah, so I don't think there's
Stop trading with 100 times leverage, please.
yeah. I mean, that's all my friends that get into the space. I always tell them Bitcoin just like only asset, do not do leverage. It just don't like unless you really know what you're doing and it's for like a minute. Like do not do 100x leverage and keep it open. I was thinking about it this morning, right? Like I was like, wow, all these people that open up a contract in January or
Does it somebody offer 150x leverage? I don't know who it is, but I've definitely seen it.
that's it. I think 125 was the max, but maybe there was 150.
Either way, it doesn't make a difference. It's
It's just
insane. The
ridiculous.
price moves by a 7/10%, and you're liquidated.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why. I wonder how many, but I think like most of these platforms they only allow you to do 125x for like 4 hours and or like for a limited time, and then for like only $1,000 or like $5,000.
So
Like
are
they
you
could,
saying I can send an RFQ through Paradigm for a 125x leveraged?
no, you cannot. You cannot. You're limited to the margin or the leverage that exchanges have. But that'd be fun. Imagine if you do like 1,000 Bitcoin RFQ at 125x.
Oh God. There's a couple funds I'm thinking about that I feel like in the height of the bull market would have thought about it. Maybe not a thousand, maybe 1,000 ETH, not 1,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah,
1,000
yeah.
is a big amount of money. So yeah, and so what do you think about altcoins though? I mean, obviously you're not dealing with these counterparties, or they're not counterparties or customers. These guys are not trading altcoins through you. But what are you seeing? I mean, are you seeing institutional demand just on BTC, just on BTC ETH?
Yeah,
Or do you think that once you roll out more assets, the demand is already there?
absolutely not. We I get a lot of questions every day, especially either new accounts or even existing ones that they want options on DeFi. So either on Dot, on Cardano, on
Is that because they don't want to custody the spot assets, or
or they have already some holdings and they want to protect it, and then they don't want to do it through Bitcoin, Ethereum if the correlation is not strong enough. Yeah, it depends on the strategy of each one of them. So the question here is more, is there demand, right? Like there is demand, so but like, and makers can actually effectively price these options, but is there enough demand right now? Because even so, Bitcoin, Ethereum, of course, in the last 12 months we've seen a lot of maturity, but there's probably not enough maturity where you can actually also like include derivatives on derivatives, so just building like even more complex structures. But we're getting there. So we're still early, but we're actually really getting there with Bitcoin, Ethereum. Although right now things kind of, if there's no volatility, if there's no vol, there's no point also on building new structured products. But then if we apply the same logic into DeFi options, or like, yeah, altcoin options, we need to bring the demand there. Where it will get there for sure. But first we need, I think whatever demand we're bringing already to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and it's growing, at some point it will also come to DeFi. So I do think that
but do you think that runs the board across all of the tech client types that you have, or is that limited toward to
definitely
crypto
not to all of
funds and prop shops, or
Yeah, not all of them. Depends on the risk of each one of them. And there's some of them that are like strictly Bitcoin. Others are strictly Ethereum. Others they might do both, but they don't touch anything else. Others they were only doing Bitcoin, and then in May with Ethereum kind of like skyrocketing, they also got into Ethereum a little bit. If you actually look at our data in May, the volume between, in general, like most of the trading volume is Bitcoin. I'm not sure this play, but maybe like 80-20 or something like that. And then the month of May was almost 50-50 between Bitcoin and Ethereum, which was really interesting to see for the first time how, because
it's probably back to 80-20 again?
now, yeah, I actually, we're gonna run the stats for June tomorrow because that's like July 1st. But yeah, I think this month has been, yeah, probably back to a bit, yeah, 80-20 or like 70-30, something like that. There's been quite a lot of like good Ethereum days this month, but yeah, definitely not like May.
And so, we talked a lot about a bunch of different exchanges, and I'm going to throw something out that you probably haven't heard in a while, and I'm curious to your thoughts. Back. Uh,
Okay.
what the hell is going on there? What is have you has anybody asked you to? I mean, they're apparently SPACing, or they were SPACing at a few billion. Has anyone ever asked you to add support for Backed?
They no, we don't get the question for back. But I think they were focusing now on like credit card rewards. Is that correct?
They have an app that does like credit card, travel rewards,
Yeah,
crypto, all in one in a wallet. Um, yeah, I
yeah,
looked at their volumes. It was kind of sad. It was a little bit sad.
yeah. It's hard. It's hard to push a regulated
Oh, you
exchange.
actually have a back person who just joined you. Actually, I
We
think.
do have, yeah, our global head of sales. Yeah, her name is also Laura. We are the two Lauras. We're known as the Lauras now, which is super funny. But yeah, she's great. She brought all this great knowledge. Also, she came from ICE, so yeah, she has a good background there. But yeah, I think that it's hard. I remember also on my LedgerX days, right? Like there's another. So in the US for regular exchanges, there's of course CME, LedgerX, Backed, and then AresX, which I don't think anyone really knows about.
Is that's DRW's thing? Is RSX?
I think I want to say AresX is actually backed by Fidelity, but I'm not sure. I forgot. But yeah, also in that, and I remember Yeah, they actually have a lot of funding. So I always thought these guys one day they're gonna come up with something and they're gonna just surprise everyone. But I don't know what's up with them, honestly. But it's I think that is also the dilemma of every single new exchange or like even a DEX. Market makers, liquidity. It's really the hardest thing to get. And how do you get it, right? Like from one side, you can build a really good market making program, but at the same time, then you have makers, but you need to get all the takers, you need to get all the other side of the trade. So it is really hard, and I don't know, maybe AMMs are the future for this sort of
Yeah, well, it's nice when you're a Deribit or some of these other exchanges. You also have retail flow mixed in.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, if you look at the numbers actually, so Paradigm, we do around 30% of the global options trades, and that's like global. So that includes retail and any other institutional that goes directly on Deribit. And then for the blogs, it's like 95% of all Deribit's blog trades. But it gives you an idea of like the split, right? Like there's actually a big chunk of institutional, but there's even a larger retail base that is like what 70% of Deribit, or like 60%, between 60 and 70%.
And so, we talked about a lot of different, offerings, but what types of financial products do you think institutions, would like to see most in like the mid, short, long term?
hmm Yeah, I think so. From one side, especially for like, I think TradFi would really enjoy to have like more besides like just options, just like derivatives and derivatives, indexes, like any other like structured product you can think of. And then other things as well that I think that could help the market is different kinds of collateral, right? So right now on Deribit, when you do portfolio margin, or like I think on most exchanges, you need uh, your margin is done on Bitcoin, right? Like you can't use any other asset. And then another thing like CME, for instance, all their everything is run in USD, so you can't use like Bitcoin as collateral or anything like that. So I think like all these like small changes would absolutely help adoption for like better that not adoption will also increase in demand and products on all these exchanges.
And so, what do you think of the current regulatory landscape, both within the United States and offshore? And what recent developments have caught your attention the most? And what impact do you think they're going to have on the market?
Yeah. There are several theories here. I know that, of course, the regulated platforms will tell you that regulation is the future, and ultimately everything will be regulated, and offshore accounts will, or offshore platforms will die. I don't think so. I think there's like room for both, right? So you have like the really TradFi or like highly regulated institutions in the U.S. that they will mainly focus on the regulated platforms, but then the ones that already have offshore setups, like how many people in the crypto space have moved to the Caribbean in the last in the last 6 months, right? Like these ones will still
We
stay
saw
there.
some at your birthday party the other day. So
Yeah, yeah, we did. But
they're all coming back because now they're way below their high water marks. There's no point in being there anymore.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, I think we all had that idea, and now I'm just yeah. I mean, I moved to Miami, right? So now it's
And
like
you're
why
back in New York, so.
and now I'm back in New York. Exactly. That didn't last for long. But yeah, so I think there's room for both. And actually, I I'm I'm not that I'm always for the offshore one, but like the nice thing about having all this offshore development is that this you have all these like very smart people that can gather up and come up with new products that TradFi would not allow to get it through because of either regulation or you need every time you release a new product has to like go through like a billion audits and it takes like 3 4 years to do like a baby step, right? Whereas if you first build it on this like either on DeFi or like offshore, then it can kind of like grow into not necessarily grow into TradFi, but like you can bring it then onshore more easily because you already built a case for it.
And so let's talk markets. What do you think of the current state of crypto markets? Where do you think we are?
hmm
And where do you think we're headed?
I think right now we're taking a break. I think that okay. I think May 19th was deemed to happen. We all knew that. I don't know when it was going to happen. I had all right, I knew I had friends already that in February, March, they were already pretty bearish and saying like, oh no, cash out. And yeah, so, but you always have these people, right? That they're just like, I don't know if like less risk averse or through all the bulls they got hurt and now they're like a little bit less risk averse. But yeah, so I think it had to happen. Now the question is, how long are we going to stay here, and then where are we going to settle next, right? So how long I'm going to stay like this? I think for sure this summer it's going to be pretty quiet. If you actually look at the skews, you see that basically short term is like pretty bearish, and then long term is not bullish, but it's it's neutral, which might mean that you can still pick up, and just uh, go back to the bull times. That's where Bitcoin. For Ethereum is pretty much standard, like looking a little bit better, but we also have the new protocol that is releasing, I think, in a few weeks. So that might actually, we might see some fun there. And as for the rest, I mean, we saw it this past few months, right? Like as Ethereum price of Ethereum increases, then DeFi kind of follows, because or at least all the at least ERC20 tokens follow, right? So I'm hoping to see something like that once it picks up a little bit. So maybe we do have a DeFi summer after all with the new
Well,
protocol.
the thing that I always like to say is that when no one's talking about crypto, buy Bitcoin. When everyone's talking about Bitcoin, buy shitcoins. And when people start buying shitcoins, run. And we all should have ran.
Yeah, you're yeah. Next time, everyone listen to Joshua Frank. He
Oh,
knows.
I didn't listen to myself. I'm so we were joking about this earlier. I'm so far down.
I
I do
know.
not listen to myself either.
Yeah.
I am probably down in the neighborhood of 40 to 50% overall, but I think everyone
Yeah,
is.
same. I probably a little bit more, but I yeah, we were talking about it earlier. I have not even checked my portfolio in the past few weeks because
I
I'm
don't
just
even want to look at the price of sushi. I
no, do not do that. No, that was a bad LA decision over dinner. Do not do that. But yeah, no,
I was encouraged to put more in than I originally had. There was a double dip there.
yeah, same here. I don't know if it was the same for you, but at least for me, May 19th, I just, even if I wanted to close any position, I just could not. Like the day was so busy for us that my mind was like, listen, I work in crypto. If the ship goes down, I'm gonna go with it, whatever. If not, I'm here because I
I'm
believe
in I'm in the
in crypto.
same boat. But the thing is, March 12th of last year, when we crashed down to 3,700, I had some dry powder, and I put more cash in.
Nice.
I got some Bitcoin. Uh,
Yeah.
this time around, there was no dry powder left.
Yeah, I mean, for me, actually, even worse. I had March was terrible for me because I had just moved to New York, so I had paid for like the moving and like the
Oh
deposit.
yeah, the second you pay the deposit, first month rent in New York,
Exactly, New
you're
York
done.
is terrible, right? Like first, last month, whatever, like a bunch of things. Yeah, yeah. So March was painful, and this time, yeah, it's same. I don't know. Let's see how it evolves, but we're here for the long run, so it's gonna be okay.
And so let's talk about the market recovering, and let's pretend we're coming back. And for all intents and purposes, I think we are not investment advice, but at some point, I believe this market will be back. But I'm
Hmm.
curious as to what will be back, and what do you think will be back? Because I think you're in the same frame of mind. You wouldn't be in crypto if you didn't think a market existed. And specifically, I'd love to talk about layer ones, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot of talk about ETH and ETH moving to ETH 2 and what that enables, and ETH side chains and blah blah blah, whatever. But at the same time, we've seen the rise of all these other layer ones, whether it be Solana, Avalanche, Algorand, you name it. So I'm
yeah.
curious as to where you kind of see the market going. Do you see this a winner take all market? Do you see a multi chain future?
Yeah. I see actually more once we start recovering, I actually see more of like a fight of the layer ones and maybe like any of the other shit coins, they're not gonna recover as much. Because in the end what you want is like projects that bring value, right? And there was a lot of like shit coins that were raising in value. I remember I checked my account, I think it was November or December probably. Bitcoin was around 13, 14K, maybe 15, maybe I don't know, it's still below 20K. And I was just like, how are all this shit coins that I had bought on Coinbase 4 or 5 years ago, super like I was like maybe like 2, 3x. I was just like, this makes literally no sense because these guys have not done
And
any
then they
value.
ran another 15 times.
Then exactly. But yeah, anyways, to me it make no sense, right? And then everything continued going up, and it just like the whole market, even in like March, April was ridiculous. The whole NFT thing in April, there I started getting a little bit sketched there, right? Like they were just NFTs selling for like 150 Ethereum that were just a black picture, you know what I mean? Just or like a pink picture, just like nothing, like just one color, just it made no sense. So yeah, so I think like with the recovery thing, you're gonna have a lot of people that are just not gonna, hopefully I hope they're not gonna pay that much attention to these trades. You're probably still gonna have all the retail apes, all the Wall Street bets people just suddenly jumping into, like bunnies into one thing or the other one. But I hope that the other people will have learned their lesson and read more into actually what each project is trying to build. And then it's going to be more of a, for the later ones, like more of a fight of like who's providing more value, right? Like all the projects you mentioned, I actually really like them all. I love Solana, I love Avalanche. I think the two of them are building a really strong team, really good tech, and they're actually building projects that are, from one side, I mean, they're creating value, they're actually creating value. So I'm very interested to see also how like everything with
I'm
Maker
curious
evolves.
what you think value is. Like, is value transactional speed? Is it cost? Is it the
Yeah,
application built on side? What
right.
actually makes a layer one valuable?
Value, okay, I think there's two sides of it. From one side is fees, right? Like for instance, Cardano, I think those guys are great. They have the idea, and like the tech is not, it's good, but they're just not creating any monetary value. I think it's like what, 20 grand a year, something like that. So I don't
Is it-
know.
This is Cardano.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Retail is it. Retail. Go on YouTube and type in crypto.
They
Every
love,
video is Cardano. I showed we could talk about this. I showed Hassan Basiri, this guy Crypto Crow on YouTube, and he's obsessed now just with how ridiculous these videos are about Cardano. He thinks they're calming, so he watches them to go to sleep.
oh
I
my god.
watched a video of somebody on YouTube crying about how Cardano changed their life.
Oh my, okay, I need to watch that. That sounds ridiculous. Yeah. I don't know. I know that the team, they're smart people, but it's just not delivering, It's just, they're not, I mean,
Retail, retail. You said
exactly.
yourself, 70% of the options market is retail, and that's even after all these institutions have come in. I mean,
Yeah,
for as much as crypto is institutionalizing, it's absolutely still a retail market. And I think to the point you made earlier, look, dead coins may come back again because people love gambling. At the end of the day, like what did well during the pandemic? It's the sins. It's
yeah,
alcohol, it's gambling, it's
yeah.
crypto, and it's weed, and all these different things. And crypto's in that bucket, and people really like gambling.
Exactly,
And so,
exactly. And that's what, actually, now that you say that, that's like funny because during the pandemic, I think that's when Binance launched the like 30 minutes options and like 1 hour options and 4 hour options that they're actually only available in Asia, and that's because they love gambling there, right? So it's really, and I think you can only, I think you can only buy calls. I forgot what it was. It was like the whole thing was ridiculous. I have to look more into it, but like yeah, people like gambling, so that's why it's an
well,
easy way.
one of our favorite projects, and to show them a little bit is Hero HXRO, and they allow you to bet on the price of Bitcoin every minute. Um, is it going to go up or down with live odds, which is pretty cool.
Wow. So wait, is it binary? Can you say yes or no, or can you only say yes?
It's up or down. You can say yes or no, but they're
Okay.
bringing like power mutual options on the blockchain. It's a super cool platform. For everyone listening, I released another episode with Rob Levy, who's the president of Hero. He goes into detail there. It's an awesome project with the most impressive listed investors of almost any project in the space. So check out that episode.
Nice. I'm gonna listen to that next. Yeah, that sounds actually, yeah, it's super interesting. But yeah, I mean, when did he launch it? Was it over pandemic or?
No, no, no. It's been around for a while. It's been
Okay.
around
Okay.
for a while. But I think the point being is that I think the idea of betting on the fact that retail enjoys short term taking positions and using leverage and things like that, I don't think that's going away anytime soon.
Yeah. No. No. Me neither. Me neither. But yeah. So it's, I think around March or February, I looked at the top 10. I went on Coin Market Cap to see like what were the top 10 coins with like the largest market cap. And I was like, out of 10, eight are like terrible, or like seven are like terrible. Like
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You check it, and occasionally, if you go by like top 50, things just start popping up in there, and you're like, what is this thing? Where did
yeah,
this thing come from?
you start scrolling down and you're like, wait, what is that
I
even
saw
good?
an asset, and I don't want to call it out, but this asset hit the top 100. I like the team is very nice. It hit the top 100 by market cap, and there's less than 1,000 holders of this, and like 90% of the supply was held by two accounts. I'm like, this is a little ridiculous.
But that's an easy way to bump it.
That's why it hit the top 100.
There you go. Exactly. It's just yeah, yeah.
And so, we kind of hit on this briefly with the different things that you're kind of looking at with layer ones and why things will win. But, this, after all, is the fundamental, value podcast. And so we ask all our guests about how they view, and how they define fundamentals. So how do you define, fundamentals for digital assets? Does it depend on the token, and do fundamentals even matter? And I think I'd like to expand that to, or I'll let you take that, and I have a condition maybe to add. But do fundamentals that matter? What are fundamentals, and do they depend on the token?
Uh, I think they used to matter more before than they matter now, or like at least they've mattered over the last few months. But absolutely, I think, or at least I want to think that as the market matures, fundamentals will matter, right? And for me, what those are is just how is the product doing? What are they releasing? Are they focusing on things that the community wants? Is there really a market for what they're trying to build? What else? The speed of the deliveries, and how well, like, also like does the code break or not? And we all know what happened 2 weeks ago with Iron, right? So
How you
anyways,
doing, Mark? Shout out to Mark Cuban.
yeah. Hi, Mark. But yeah, so I do think they do matter, and I think they will matter again. So with the next kind of, going back to layer ones, and like what I think that in the next kind of bull, we'll see the layer ones not fighting with each other, but like trying to find a space in the market. That's when these things are really going to matter, because otherwise, how would you choose where to, like, what's going to be the next thing, or the direction of the market? Like, what are you going to say? I can see your face. You have a thought.
No. I know you're. I'm trying to look at my question list here. I'll just pull it up another tab. No, I agree with you. And my follow up point. The point that I was going to add was, does it depend on whether it's a bull or bear market? But I didn't want to lead you, but you naturally went down that rabbit hole anyways. Where I'm
Yeah,
in the same boat, right? Fundamentals in a bear market start to look like they matter a lot more than a bull market, where people call
exactly.
supply unlocking bullish unlocks, and you're like, it doesn't really make any sense.
Exactly. Yeah. So now I think it's going to be all about building, right? During a bearish market, you want to build. So you actually start creating, I don't want to say the word again, but like, yeah, adding value, and just like, just building a strong product. And then that will consequently help you during the bull market. But then, yeah, during the bull market, is just aping into all these different things.
And so you actually brought this up right before we started recording, and you wanted to look up this question and look up the answer, but I didn't let you. I said I'm going straight into it, because you
Yeah.
were like trying to ask yourself what even is a meme token. I was like, I want you to just go off the cuff and just what is. I think that's a good point. Like, we in our head, like, Dogecoin's a meme token, Sheev is a meme token. Like, but what is a meme token? Do they matter? Do they have any longevity? Like, will we see more meme tokens in the future? I mean, look at AMC stock, and I haven't checked in a few weeks. I don't actively track, but Serge, when is the last time you went to an AMC movie? I haven't been to one. So yeah. I mean, like, to me, meme stocks are the same thing. They're retail driven, but I don't know. Like, I'm curious to your thoughts.
Yeah. I exactly. I was just today. I was sitting down. I was like, what is exactly a meme token? Like, what is the utility of it? Why? How do you build on it? Like, what do
The
you do with it?
utility is memes.
Like, yeah, you and okay, but it's like, I guess each meme is like pegged to a token. I don't know. Like, you can
I
use.
have an interesting theory that the utility is community. People
Yeah,
look for things to believe in and to get behind it. I think what Wall Street bets and all these things have been able to do is bring people together. behind something, kind of at a time where the world is seemingly so disconnected with COVID. And maybe this is a much deeper opinion on a meme token, but I think it's community. I mean, that's crypto. At the end of the day, crypto
Yeah.
is sentiment and it's community, right?
I buy that. I'm gonna buy that. I like that idea of the community. But yeah, I think it also goes around like what jokes and events and but I kind of want to see it applied. I don't know if anyone knows anything or like any comments. Please let me know any project that I just want to see something, an application built on like one of these blockchains, one of this like meme tokens. So
But isn't the idea of the meme token that it's just a meme, that there's nothing
there's
else?
nothing around it, right? That's yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
are you asking for there to be real technology built on cum rocket? Like,
yeah. Oh my God, Calm Rocket. It's funny. I was in Miami having dinner with a large group of people, and this guy was like, "Yeah, I invested a lot in like this token and Calm Rocket," and I was just like, "Welcome to the DJAM world," but I'm so sorry for your loss. That was yeah.
I was out for dinner with a friend who works at one of the largest asset management firms in the world, probably top 10 by asset management, by assets under management. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. And he told me that he had bought pussy coin.
No way, no way. That's
He's
amazing.
like,
Wait, I
he's like,
have a
he's like,
friend.
he's like, he only bought 5 grand worth, but he's like, I just bought 5 grand worth of this thing. Is it going to go to the moon? Is it going to go up? What do you think? I'm like, what
Oh,
are you doing?
okay. So going back to meme token, I don't know if you saw. I think Iron today they tweeted that they were gonna do kind of like a version 2 meme token or something like that. And it's funny because when everything went down with Iron a couple of weeks ago, this friend of mine messaged me. He's not in crypto at all. He's like TradFi, mortgages, like not crypto at all. And but he's a little bit involved. He invested in a few funds, but not really active. And then he's like, "What do you think? Should I buy?" And I was just like, "Why do you want to buy? Give me your." And then at some point, after like I didn't check my phone, and like 3 hours later, he's like, "Okay, I YOLO it. I just bought." Same thing. Like he's like, "I just put like 2 grand, whatever," which was something like 13 billion tokens or like 14 billion tokens. And for a split second, I had a little bit of FOMO. I was like, wow, if this goes to $1, I mean, of course, it's not going to happen. But I was like, imagine if that ever happens, because, I don't know, wait for Wall Street bets to, of course, they have to fix their tech before they can do anything. But yeah, it's just crazy. Just like, yeah, people are still like YOLOing into different things, even
Yeah,
right now.
crypto TikTok is an especially interesting place for that. I don't know
Yeah,
if you ever found yourself down the crypto TikTok rabbit hole, but
I I just did not even allow myself to download TikTok, but I
you're
don't
missing
know.
out. It's great entertainment. But
Is it?
we're actually doing, believe it or not, I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly. We may be the first company in the world that's doing sentiment data on TikTok. So we're actively scraping and pulling in TikTok data to try to understand how you can use that to actually trade. Because we think a lot of these smaller altcoins are being purely driven by TikTok.
So you're
And
doing
a
sentiment
lot of
analysis on
alpha.
TikTok.
What'd you say?
Doing sentiment analysis on TikTok.
We think there's alpha in TikTok data. Yeah.
That is, I would buy that. I would actually buy that. Yeah.
So it's still early. It's still preliminary. We do YouTube as well, and there's a lot going on there. Similarly, but yeah, retail's got a big pull in this market. And
Yeah.
so my next question, and this is off the cuff, but what is your hottest take right now in crypto?
My hottest take in crypto. I don't know. It's so sad right
Go
now.
against the crowd. Go against the crowd.
Go against the crowd. I've been telling friends to get Solana. That's a safe bet. I don't know why. I think it's gonna perform well. But other than that, I don't know. I think we talked a little about it earlier, but I like Akash as well, cloud computing on blockchain. But
The
that's
only thing
probably
I know about a cash network is that they had a booth at Miami Bitcoin and they weren't there the entire time I walked past
they
them.
did have one. Yeah. Okay. The Miami conference, like that was kind of ridiculous. I went one day on Friday morning that was really hot. I got really like hangry after 2 hours of trying to find food and 3 hours in each food truck, and I just left. But yeah, there was. I think yeah. Thursday whale day was great. The other 2 days, it was too much. I couldn't. Yeah, it was hard to like even say hi to anyone. I did went to your booth and I did not see you.
Yeah, I was running around. I was running around. Our booth looked pretty nice though, and I hope my team was good there. So
Yeah, no, they were very nice, but I did not see you. Yeah, but yeah, so I do like what you're building. So, and I think they've been releasing really cool things. So
yeah, can you
hopefully,
go into that a little bit?
yeah. So the idea is to decentralize cloud computing, right? So at least yeah, so effectively making it cheaper than it is right now to run it on either AWS or Google Cloud platform. And just as an idea, I was reading this. This was like a few months ago. I don't know. I didn't really like verify it or anything, but on a Twitter thread, someone was saying, "Hey, I've run the numbers. If they manage to take 1% of the cloud computing, global cloud computing industry, the token could like even go all the way up to like $70." So just by if you compare it by like market,
What is the token price now for
I
reference?
think $3, $4, or three something like that. Yeah, all time high has been like $8 or $7. It started at like a few cents. So yeah, so I think they will perform well. They just announced a partnership this morning. I haven't read into it, but like it looks like they've been like continuously working on new releases. And yeah, and then another one I personally like, Flow, which is from CryptoKitties, right? They Yeah, they are, I think this summer they're working on some sort of like soccer partnership, and then thinking something that they're also going to release is like something similar to like the NBA Top Shot, but like something with like cricket in India. So yeah, so and they have really really good partners. If you go to their website, like actually big names, big players either in sports or in gaming. So that's so one of the things that I like to look at.
How much of this is a fad though? With a lot of this NFT stuff. I mean, I think the benefit that maybe Flow or Dapper has is that they have so many of these partnerships. But if you look at NBA Top Shot, it was on ESPN. Like all the NBA players were talking about it. Everybody wanted it. Like and then I haven't. No one's told me. The only thing I get from Top Shot is they keep emailing me to buy packs. Before I was clamoring to get every drop, and now I'm just like I don't care. Uh,
Yeah, no, I never bought any of those. I don't know. For me, it's more like just let the token do whatever. I mean, I just have no time to go down the rabbit hole and like look into it. But yeah, I agree. I still a new project, so hopefully they continue working on it.
I mean,
But
that's the benefit of being a podcast host is that, in addition to my day job, once a week or once every other week, I get to pick somebody's brain who thinks a lot more about a lot of this stuff.
yeah,
And that's kind of how, in bits and pieces, I'm able to get some information.
that's actually, yeah, you're lucky about that. Yeah, that's actually really cool. That's I'm jealous of that. But yeah, one more project that I've always liked, and for many years I got like people making fun of me. I always like Avalanche, even before they launched the token. And I know it's been delayed and stuff, the launch, but I always followed Emin Gun, and I really liked everything he said. And I know that I just think that maybe he can sound, I don't know, a little bit pretentious sometimes, but like the guy knows what he's talking
He's
about.
unhinged sometimes. He's
Yeah,
entertaining that.
yeah, I think he actually knows what he's talking about. I mean, he's by academia, like he knows a lot. So it's always good to listen to him, and that's why I always wait for the project. And it's turned out that it's been performing well. They did have the issue with the notes around a few months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago, but they like fixed it in like 2 days, which is really really fast, or like I think like under 24 hours. So yeah, promising team.
And so my final question is, what is the worst investment decision that you have made in crypto, or what is the worst trade that you have made, or worst shitcoin that you have bought?
I ate into like TRX, I think, like 3 months ago. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. Like I'm on this. Okay, I'm on this. On
Wait, Tron. We're talking about Tron.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're talking about Tron. It's ridiculous. I really hope nobody listens to this now that I said.
Are you still holding Tron?
No, I sold it. I sold it, but I'm holding Beam as I think, or like I don't know, like a bunch of other shit coins. The thing is, I'm on this Telegram group chat that whenever this guy says, and I don't want to say the name because he's a good guy, but whenever he says, buy now at this price, it's cheap, whatever. And then if you actually buy it and then you sell it after like a few hours, since they have so many people subscribing to the channel, the price actually pumps like goes up by
The
like at least
self-fulfilling
23%.
prophecy.
So it's a good moment to like just go into it. But like that day I was busy with work, whatever. I did not see the time that he said it. And I don't know. It was just like a bad idea, but
Well, you
it's
know what happens with all those groups. I mean, the guy who's announcing it has been buying it for a week
oh yeah.
before,
Oh
and
yeah.
he's saying it to it, and he's dumping on all you
No,
guys.
you need to buy it the moment he sends it. Like
Yeah,
if you wait 10 minutes, you're out. Like it's already high enough where you're only
yeah.
gonna do
Pump and
either.
dump.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what happened. Other than that,
That's great. That's amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing.
At least I'm proud to say I never bought XRP.
I have never bought XRP. I have never bought TRX. Um, but I have bought other really dumb tokens. There was this one. I'm not going to get into it, but this thing called Golden Goose this year, and it was this. They introduced this thing called layered farming, and so basically, what it was, I vaguely remember. So you had this token called Goose, and then you had, or it was called Egg, and then you had all these layered farms called GG1, like Golden Goose One, Golden Goose Two, Golden Goose Three. It was like multi-level. I don't know what it was. It was some form of pyramid scheme or something. But basically, what you did is you basically went and you took your egg, and then everyone tried to get into the Golden Goose thing as it got released because it was a brand new pool, you could put it in and earn like 8 billion% yield. And then that layer lasted for like 7 days, and then another layer came, and then another layer came on top of it. And so, like, the price of this thing when the first layer came out, everyone aped into it. It went up to like I don't know, six. I don't know what the number was. A ridiculous amount of money is now maybe 1 cent. But basically, everyone was trying to get into for the crazy yield, and you could even get yield in like USD with the coin, or like in USDC or USDT or whatever it was. And so everybody aped into it, but it was like this total scam because the next day, the next layer came out, the next, and I think by the time layer three was about to come out, everyone was like, "Oh, this is a total scam. I've lost so much money." Because if
Yeah,
you weren't the first, because people found exploits in the code, they found the contract address first, and they deposited into it and got that coin. And
yeah,
so, like, the guy who got in first crushed it, and everybody else got out. I didn't actually lose that much money,
yeah.
but I was so hyped about it. I literally have the goose stickers on my Telegram.
Oh
Uh,
my god, no. That's
and,
amazing.
and I've gotten rug pulled a bunch of times too. So we've all been there. But at
Yeah,
least I didn't touch on.
it's we all learn. I personally think these are good things. Like you need to go through this so you can learn and do better things
Look,
next
when
time.
you have a job that involves being incredibly busy and having so much to do, getting rug pulled occasionally or being in one of these stupid things is fun. It's a good
It's
time.
part of it. It's part of it. Then you can just just laugh at it.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you having you on. This was great. Uh, can you just tell everyone where to find you, where to find Pat Paradigm online? I'll obviously drop the descriptions, but your Twitter account, the website, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter. My handle is Vidiella Laura, and Vidiella is with two L's. And then for Paradigm, you can either find us on Paradigm. I think Trade Paradigm is our handle. If not, you can find me also on Paradigm with my actually first name and last name, so Laura Vidiella. Or you can go to our website, which is paradigm.co.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was great having you on.
Yeah. Thank you. It was great to be here.